If you've been editing for any length of time, one of the challenges you face in editing is fitting photos to your 16 by 9 sequence. They are usually either bigger than the frame or smaller than the frame, or they have a different aspect ratio. Now with Premiere Pro, you get 3 one-click ways to fit your photos to your 16 by 9 frame. Those 3 ways are scale to frame, fit to frame, and finally you have fill frame. They seem to do the same thing, but there are differences. So let's dive in and see what those differences are and when and where you should use each of these methods. So I have my sequence here that I've been working on in Premiere Pro. It's a 1080p or 1920 by 1080 frame size. So let me go to a blank part of this sequence and then go to my B-roll and backgrounds folder where I have different images that I want to use in this sequence, right? Let me take one of those images, these flowers, and right click and go to media file properties, and you can see how big my image is. It's 6000 by 4000 pixels, so it's way bigger than my sequence settings. So let's drop that into my sequence, and this is what it looks like when it's in the sequence. So in the preview you see all of it, but once you drop it into the sequence, you can see that it's way bigger than my sequence. In Premiere Pro, if you right click on the clip, you get this, and you get these options for rescaling your photo. You get your scale to frame, fit to frame, and fill frame. So let's hit the first one, scale to frame. And you can see that with one click, the image on the left is now matching the image on the right. But as you can see from the sides, you have these black bars on the sides, and that's because the aspect ratio of the photo is different from the aspect ratio of the sequence, and there's really not much we can do about it except to scale it up so that it fills the whole frame. But that's scale to frame. But what is it actually doing? To get a sense of what it's actually doing, let's go to effects controls, and you notice one thing: the scale of the image has not changed. So scale to frame has actually not changed the scale of the image. It's still showing that it's 100%. Let me undo that so that you see this. Undo. See, it's now bigger, but my scale is still at 100%. If I redo, it's smaller, but the scale on the left, it's still at 100%. And that's because what this is doing is actually resampling your image. And so it's basically throwing away some pixels and making your image smaller so that it fits into the frame. The pro is that this is a very quick way and easy way to rescale if you don't intend to do anything else with your image. So if you're just using it, say, as a background, or you're not going to be animating it in any way, this is a good option to use. Now if you at some point decide, okay, I want to animate, so let's say I want to scale it up over a period of time, make it bigger as it goes, so now it's animated like that, you are actually going to lose quality as the image gets bigger because the program has thrown away some pixels when it scaled it down to fit into your sequence. So that's scale to frame. So let's take the same image, take that same image, drop it onto here. It's too big, right click. This time we're going to do fit to frame, and I click, and it looks like it has done exactly the same thing as this one. See, there's no difference when I move here and I move there. Same thing. same black bars, same scaling. But if we go to the effects controls now, you can see that it has actually scaled it physically down to 27%. So with fit to frame, what's happening is that the program is actually scaling down your image, but it's not throwing away any pixels. It is actually changing the scale of the image itself and keeping the high resolution of the image. And so the advantage of using fit to frame is that the program does not throw away any pixels when the picture is too big. And this is good for cases where you want to animate, like I did here in the first example. So when I animate this, scaling it up, it's not going to lose any resolution. So you still have all your resolution that you had in the beginning to work with. Let's take the same image and drop it onto third instance here. And this time we're going to go to fill frame. And let's have this on the side. And it looks like it has done the same thing, but notice something that is different. Spot the difference between this one. Let's put it down back to where it was at 27%. So this is what it looked like when I clicked fit to frame. But when I do fill frame, do you notice any difference on the sides? So fill frame makes sure that the whole image fits the whole screen. So we don't have any black bars on the sides like the first two instances. It fills the whole frame. It's a bit clearer what's happening if I drop a square picture like this passport photo. If I click on here and put let's say fit to frame, that is what it's going to look like. And it's got these black bars on the sides. But if I undo that and instead click on fill frame, it's going to try and fill the whole frame. It's not trying, it's going to fill the whole frame with the image. And so your composition might change quite a bit with that. You might have to move the position of the composition so that it fits, so that it looks good in a 16:9 frame. So let me demonstrate with something that is smaller than the frame. So we have this image here, which is really small. If I do scale to frame, it's going to scale it up, but it's going to resample. So it's going to make up pixels to make this look good. So let me just undo that, and then I'll show you. Next one, if I put fit to frame, it's going to do the same thing, but it's going to scale it up by 500%. So it's going to lose some quality. Undo that, and then do the last one that I wanted to demonstrate, and that is fill frame. And so the disadvantage, as you can see with fill frame, is that your composition gets really messed up. So if you have something like this that has this aspect ratio, this square aspect ratio, and you do fill frame, you're going to chop off a lot of details from your image, and your framing is going to be off. But the good thing is it fills the whole frame and doesn't leave any black bars on the top or on the sides of your image. So it kind of tries to deal with the aspect ratio difference issue. And that's the difference between those three. Scale to frame resamples your image. Fit to frame actually scales your image to fit to your frame. And then finally, fill frame just fills the whole frame and leaves no black bars on the top or the sides. If you're working with high resolution photos, I would recommend that you use fit to frame instead of the other two, because you don't lose any resolution by doing that, especially if you want to animate the photo by scaling later on in your editing. And that's it for today. I hope you found that useful. Now you know the difference between scale to frame, fit to frame, and fill frame, and when best to use each of them. See you on the next one.